Welcome to the Let's Talk Seahawks podcast. I'm your host, Robert Smith, along with my co-host, Adam Carver-Stellman. Today, we'll be reviewing our top 10 running back prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft. Adam, let's talk Seahawks. Let's talk draft.
Let's do it. Little bit of a disclaimer here. This was the first top 10 that I put together, and I was not thinking analytically, which you know is not my thing anyway. So I've got a few random picks and the guys in weird spots. This is just how much I like these guys, basically. So it's a popularity contest for me, and these are my top 10 popular guys, really.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's get right into it, shall we? All right, so we're going to set this up the same way we did our top 10 quarterbacks. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that video, stay tuned till the end and go ahead and watch that one next. But what we're going to do is each one of us is going to do a top 5, and that's our ranked order 1 through 5. And then we're going to spotlight some mid-round prospects and then some late-round prospects. And these are just so that we have names to watch for later in the draft, guys that we think have a little something special or something we'd like to spotlight. So let's get this underway.
Drum roll, please.
Yes, drum roll, please. With our number 10 spot, I have Evan Hull out of Northwestern, and Adam has Tiyon Evans out of Louisville. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know who Evan Hull was until the combine. Not going to lie. I mean, I'm sure I watched some Northwestern games because I was watching other prospects. But he made me go back and watch these games and watch him in these games and how he plays. This guy, only a handful of guys in the draft get the gamer tag from me. And this is that guy on this list. He is going to go out there and take it to the house every time. He's going to put 100% effort in every rep, in practice, in the game, on the sideline warming up. I bet you this guy goes 100% in pregame warmup. That is the type of player that Evan Hull is. So I say that he's a solid running back. He's going to be a good rotational guy in the NFL, somebody who can be a true number 2, kind of come in, spell that number 1 quarterback, let him get a breath, go out there and put in a series of his own. He's a reliable receiver. He can play that third down back. I think he needs to get a little better in the blocking aspect and recognizing blitz and picking up blitz. But I think his receiving ability is going to help him be impactful to teams because of his competitiveness. He's going to go out there and be able to contribute on special teams as well. So he's a really good athlete, not really a home run threat. I think he ran a 4.49 40. So still quick, still athletic. He's going to get a 20-yard run, but he's probably going to get tackled from behind from those athletic DBs on the field. But even with that, I mean, he's a guy who's going to be productive for you.
Yeah, I didn't. Same as you. I had never heard of Evan Hull until the combine, and the only reason I watched any tape on him is because you said, "Look at this guy," and I didn't watch a ton. But I'll say this: I don't know if he met with the Seahawks at the combine or if he's part of their 30 picks. But if he is, and him and Pete Carroll get in the room together, he's going to get drafted by the Seahawks. This guy has the same kind of energy, excitement. This man loves the game. You were talking about him on the sidelines. I didn't watch a ton of tape, but when I did go back and watch Northwestern, if he's not on the field, this man is raw, like in there. Like if someone's doing a kickoff return, he's running along the sidelines with them. You know, this is a very Pete Carroll-esque guy. He has that kind of energy. Like I said, I think if the Seahawks end up meeting with Evan Hull, then he's going to get drafted, or at least end up as a Seahawk guy, as an invitee to camp, because he is a Pete Carroll kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely love that. I've been on the sideline coaching, and you want those guys who cheer on your teammates. You want those good teammates, those guys who are great in a locker room. That's another thing that he brings besides being competitive on the field. And he'll go out there and he'll put his 100% in 100% of the time. So he's just my kind of guy. He's that blue collar, go to work kind of player. You spotlighted a player that I didn't know much about, and that was Tiyon Evans out of Louisville.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody knows a ton about this guy. So I was when we were doing this running back thing, and I there's not, it's not a real deep running back class. There are several guys that I think are going to get drafted, but it's a little top heavy, and then I think it kind of drops off a little bit. But this is a guy. I'll say this: the reason that I this guy stands out to me is because when he's on the field, he is electric. This guy with the ball in his hands, he's got speed. I mean, he ran in the high 4.4s, but he can take it to the house if he wants to. He's 225 pounds at 5'10". This man is just a ball of muscle. The reason I love him so much is because I think if we're looking, if the Seahawks were going to fight, if they thought, you know what, we need a Chris Carson back in this room, that's who he is. This guy just never gives up. I mean, he didn't have any scholarship offers coming out of high school. He went to JUCO and then eventually got on at Tennessee. Couldn't stay healthy or get on the field at Tennessee. I think he played 6 games and got hurt. He ended up transferring to Louisville for his last year, and he again got hurt, which is why the only reason this guy's falling this far in the draft, the only reason I think he's a late round pick, is because he has these injury concerns. Couldn't stay healthy in college. Never played a full college season. But when he's on the field, this man is a man amongst boys. He can bowl people over with his strength. He's one of those guys that always fights for extra yards, which is probably why he always got hurt. But he can also burn you with his speed. I think if this guy gets on the Seahawks, he's going to be a special teams ace right away. You'll watch him come in and just see him knocking guys on kickoff returns. If he gets on the field, this guy could be a replacement for Chris Carson or DJ Dallas, one of those bigger kind of bruising backs that can come in, spell K9 on early downs, or even be our bruiser late. Good goal line back, but you just don't see guys with his speed and size combo that often. And at 5'10", 225 pounds and running a 4.4, if he can stay healthy and get on the field, this guy could make waves. And that's why he's number 10 on my list, because I think that this guy gets a chance and can stay healthy. You'll want to watch him play.
Yeah, and I didn't know who he was. You gave me your list, and I was putting this graphic together, and I actually had to go watch a few clips and read some other scouting reports, and then go see if that's what I saw on film as well. And yeah, I think he's a north-south runner. I mean, he's not going to take the ball laterally. You want him inside the tackles. So north-south runner who uses his power well, which brings us to the negative, which you touched on, which is injury concerns after multiple season-ending injuries. Like you said, he never finished a college season. And you don't really want your power back, your guy who's inside the tackles, getting hit from multiple angles from big 300-pound defensive linemen and linebackers, having an injury concern. So I think this is a player who would benefit greatly from the new practice squad rules and the way that people are using their rosters. I think he's a guy who could be on the practice squad and be elevated for a couple games. Maybe when you need to give somebody a break in your running back stable, you bring in this guy, let him come up and be your power back. Maybe he only plays 5, 6, 7, 8 games a year, but he'll be impactful in those games, and he'll get you those short yardage, situational yards that are so hard to get in the NFL. And then, like I said, with North-South, this guy hits the hole and he accelerates through. And that's what I like to see. I want to see a guy who gets in there and uses his power well. So I think this is a really good pick from you, and a guy that was not on my radar until recently.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen any highlight, go back and watch some Louisville games. Just watch him on the field. He's fun to watch. He's a beast.
All right, and that brings us to number 9. For me, my number 9 is Deuce Vaughn out of Kansas State. And your number 9 was Hunter, I believe it's Luepke. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Luepke, I think, is correct, I believe.
From North Dakota State. So I really like Deuce Vaughn. He's small, which means the Seahawks probably won't draft him. They've never drafted a running back smaller than 5'9", I believe. But he's 5'5", 180 pounds. So he is a built short running back. That means he can take the punishment, but he runs hard. He plays big. He plays like he's 5'10", right? 5'10", 200 pounds. That's who this guy is inside, and that's how he plays. He was probably the most highly productive running back in this class, one of the top. He had 3,600 plus yards rushing in his career and 34 rushing touchdowns. And on top of that, he had 116 receptions for 1,280 yards and 9 touchdowns. So he can get it done in all phases of the game. Because of his size, he is a little weaker in the blocking aspect. So he might, despite his receiver skills, he might not be a third down back candidate because he might not be able to pick up those blitzing linebackers. But he's somebody you could maybe on third down, you come out with twin running backs and he motions out to the slot. And now with his receiving skills, he could kind of play that slot back linebacker running back mismatch. He was really good at taking advantage of what linebackers lacked athletically.
Yeah, I mean, well, I love Deuce Vaughn. He is. I am cheering for the Seahawks to draft this guy. I really doubt they will because of the reasons that you said. But I cannot wait to see this guy get into the NFL and make some plays. I think he's got. For me, he's a cross between like Giovanni Bernard and Darren Sproles, or maybe even Doug Martin is another really good example. Smaller guy that's just built like an absolute brick.
Yeah.
You're right. He's small and he's not that great at pass protection, but it's only because of his size and people take advantage of that. He is a very willing blocker. This guy, he does not shy away from taking a hit. If he has to stand in there and
he's
get
tough
smacked,
as nails.
yeah, if he has to stand there and get smacked to chip a guy, he will. If it's about keeping the quarterback clean long enough to get a pass out, he's perfect for that. There's no issues with him as a third down back. It's going to be tougher, obviously, at the next level. But I'll talk a little bit more about Deuce Vaughn in a minute because he's a little bit higher up on my list than you have him. But I love this guy. If the Seahawks draft him, is another guy that I will get on the table, stand and cheer because I love him that much.
Yeah, great, electric, fun guy to watch. Your number 9, Hunter Luepke, fullback. I love a fullback. Yeah. Why do you have him as your number 9?
Because of that. Look, the Seahawks haven't had a traditional fullback since the days of Mike Robb and Marshawn Lynch. And I miss those days. And I miss those days because of the versatility it adds in our running game. We've gotten to see, obviously teams have kind of gone away from the 2-back sets. I formation is not really big in the NFL. It's a lot of single back sets and just letting the guy run out of there. But when a fullback goes in, it can change the running game and make it and just impossible to stop because teams are going away from those kind of defenses that are meant to bottle a guy like that up. You have an extra blocker coming out of the backfield, lead blocking, moving guys out of the way for blocker. If I don't know that a fullback has been drafted in the last several years. I'm pretty sure one hasn't. I think Hunter has a chance to break that tradition and be the first fullback taken in a draft in a long time. One thing I would love to see in this Pete Carroll offense, especially knowing that our offensive coordinator comes out of that kind of Rams and 49ers kind of like coaching tree, they know how to utilize a fullback. You look at what's going on in San Francisco and how do they utilize their fullback. Yes, he can be a lead blocker. He's also dangerous in the red zone because he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. He can move up to the line and be an extra blocker along that offensive line, like an extra tight end. If we find a way to draft Hunter Luepke or bring him in for the Seahawks, I cannot wait to see what we could do with a real traditional fullback back on the roster. This is another one of those guys that I would love to. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think this is a prospect that's on the Seahawks radar. But my God, it would be so fun if he was.
No, I agree. I would love to have him on the team. He played fullback. He played some tailback as well for North Dakota State.
Also former quarterback. By the way.
Former quarterback. He played all over the place. I think he played wide receiver in high school as well. He also played like a move tight end. So he would split off. He would motion out, kind of fill that tight end role. But another thing, we all love position flexibility. But I also like the fact that he played at some point in his career all the special teams units. He's willing to get out there and do the dirty work to get in there on special teams and make sure that those key roles are done. I think he's a great prospect, and I really hope he gets drafted because, one, I like fullbacks, and as soon as an NFL team realizes, oh, let's turn the clock back 20 years, they're going to steamroll the NFL because everybody has tiny linebackers now.
Yeah, I think just as a quick aside, if anybody remembers who the NFL rushing leader was last year, his name is Josh Jacobs from the Las Vegas Raiders, and his biggest chunk plays came out of I formation with a blocking guy in front of him in that fullback position. It works.
Yep, that fullback was Jakob Johnson out of the International Pathways program, came out of Germany, played as college ball at Tennessee. Yeah, no, big fan of what they were doing last year with the Raiders, and I really hope that some teams realize that having an actual fullback is worth it to have it on the team. All right, so our number 8 players, you went with Deuce Vaughn, who we just talked about. My number 8 player is DeWayne McBride out of UAB. I like what I see out of him. Now, there are some negatives, especially with mid and late round guys. His negative is he is only a 2-down back. You don't want him in there on 3rd down. He's not a guy who's going to bring any sort of receiving skills to the table. He is a run only, let's work on receiving skills in practice. It may take a while, but he has good power, good balance. He can fight through contact. I really, really like what he brings to the table. I think he needs to clean up his ball control a little bit. He had a tendency to fumble, but if he can get that under control, I think he's definitely somebody who can play a role in somebody's backfield.
Yeah, look, eight fumbles in 2 years is not a great stat, and obviously we know that that's not something the Seahawks really like to see. But as you will see later in this podcast, I am really, really high on DeWayne McBride, and the reason I am so high on DeWayne McBride is because he reminds me so much of Marshawn Lynch. His attitude, the fact that he loves playing football. He really takes joy in being on the field, just like Beast Mode did. And he is that kind of a runner. He has great center of gravity, gets really low coming out of his break, and just bowls guys over. This guy is looking to take contact on every single run, and I loved watching him play. Went back and watched some of his game highlights. I don't think I can give any higher praise to a guy than saying he reminds me of Marshawn Lynch, and that's why I love DeWayne McBride. Great choice. I'd love to see the Seahawks take this guy. I think it would be a fantastic compliment to Kenneth Walker. Yeah, love him.
Yeah. All right. So anything else you want to say about Deuce Vaughn?
No, but again, if this guy was not 5'5" and 180 pounds, if he was like prototypical size for a running back, he would be far and away the number 1 running back on my list. That's how good Deuce Vaughn is.
Nice. That's high praise. All right. So number 7, we have Chase Brown out of Illinois for me, and Adam came in with Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina. So Chase Brown is somebody who caught my attention at the combine. First of all, I like the story. Both him and his brother are draft eligible this year. His brother is a safety and real athletic guys. So that's one of my plus attributes to Chase Brown is that he's an explosive home run threat, 4.43 in the 40-inch vert. This guy has lower body explosion, and he uses all of it. Here, he is a guy who's a workhorse. He can handle the number 1 running back workload. Now we got to go to the negatives, right? So he kind of lacks the size and power for short yardage. What we were saying about DeWayne McBride, right? Somebody who can come in there and get extra yards anytime you want to see him. We were talking about Tiyon Evans is coming in and being that goal line, that short yardage, that power back. Chase Brown is not going to bring you that, but he is a home run waiting to happen. So you need to have him. He's one of those guys who probably needs 15 plus touches a game in order to get into a groove. But I think he's someone who can bring number 1 running back attitude, number one running back durability, number one running back skills to the NFL. I'm real high on Chase Brown.
Yeah, look, the only reason Chase Brown's not on my list is because I knew he was on yours because of how much you love Chase Brown. He would have definitely been in my top 10 if I didn't know for sure that he was going to be in yours. Ditto to everything you said. Chase Brown is one of those guys who I think will have a long career in the NFL. I don't know if he's ever going to be the guy, but he, if he needed to step in and carry the load, I would have no problem with him doing that. I think he would be a great guy to bring in. I don't think he'll see the field unless there's an injury to one of the top two guys in the Seahawks roster, whether that be K9 or DJ Dallas in this case, because he's slotted in right now to be the number two. But if he when he's out there, I think he's going to do great things. And the one thing you said about him being able, if he has the ability to take it to the house every single time he touches the ball, that's exactly why Keaton Mitchell is on my list. Keaton Mitchell, I believe, had the second fastest 40 time behind only one guy for the running backs, a 4.37 speed guy. This guy's lightning on the field. This is also a guy that I think should be mentioned. He was in the Seahawks top 30 visits, so he's already been in Seattle, met with Seattle. So they're already looking at this guy. I think that this is a guy that will come in right away and be a special team star. I think he could be a great returner for us. I think I don't know. There's been some great Seahawks returners, but the guy that I think that he reminds me most of is Leon Washington, a guy that I think will be a special teams contributor for his entire career. I think will be an All-Pro or at least a Pro Bowl returner, or could be during his rookie year. He's got that kind of speed and ability in the return game. So I think that's why the Seahawks are taking a look at him. This is a guy that I would really keep an eye out in that fourth or fifth round, the Seahawks to pull the trigger on to come in and contribute right away on special teams.
Yeah, he's somebody I like as well. But here I've got a proposition for you. So he's got kind of a slight frame, right? Not going to stand up to a lot of punishment, right? 5'9", 180 pounds. And he has pretty decent receiving numbers. I think he could be a wide receiver conversion, slot gadget guy out of the slot.
Yeah, look, if anybody remembers, CJ Prosise was the guy that the Seahawks drafted a while ago that had that kind of versatility. Obviously, a little bit bigger guy. CJ Prosise had a little bit more weight to him, but he was also a little bit light in the legs. If you look at him, he's very much one of those guys that looked like he skipped leg day. Keaton Mitchell doesn't skip leg day. He's definitely more of a bottom heavy guy. His weight is in his lower half, not his upper half. And that's why I have a little bit more faith in him kind of keeping durability. But I agree. I think this is a guy that could be a gadget player. But I think if the Seahawks draft him, it's going to be for specifically to be the returner. I think they're going to bring him in to fill that special teams role because there is a need right now on special teams for the Seahawks.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So let's go ahead and look at our number 6 player on our lists. I went with Devon Achane out of Texas A&M. And you went with Roschon Johnson out of Texas.
Oh, yeah, two Southern boys.
Yeah, exactly. Two guys out of Lone Star State. So I went with Devon Achane. I like Devon Achane. He is a home run threat. Sitting on the bench, he's a home run threat. I mean, this guy has Olympic caliber speed. He actually ran slower than I thought he would run, and he
ran slower than he thought he was going to run.
Yeah, this guy I legit thought was going to put up a 4.26, 4.27, or even higher, and I think he could. I'm not sure what happened that day at the combine, but he has a elite speed. He's got a track background, which leads into one of his negatives for me, and that is he's really good going straight. He is not very good when he has to change directions while going fast. And it's hard. It has to do with leverage and body placement. And he's been trained to run fast in one direction because that's what you do in track. But even then, he can still, if he has enough time, he can change angles and use angles to his benefit because defenders, when somebody is that fast, it's really hard to change your pursuit angle in order to catch that guy. when you see a guy running and okay, for normal players, I'm going to have to just adjust a few degrees to make sure that I can get him here on the sideline. But when Achane is running the ball and you're a safety or a corner who's playing zone back in a cover 3, and you see him hit the sideline and start running up, you actually have to run almost away from him in the direction that he's running in order to catch him, because he's going to fly right by you. And that's not something that comes naturally. And so he takes advantage of defenders taking bad angles. But here's an area that you just mentioned that the Seahawks could look to bring somebody like Devon Achane in if he were to fall. And that is 10% of the kick returns that he took in college went for touchdowns. If I can get a touchdown 1 out of every 10 kickoffs, I'm happy. Give me those free points. So he's somebody who can come in and contribute immediately in the special teams game. I do think he has a slighter frame, just like we were talking about with Keaton Mitchell. He's right there in that same size, 5'9", 180 pounds. So is that going to be a detriment? Is he really going to contribute as much in the wide receiver room, or is his benefit primarily going to be special teams and change of pace running back stuff?
Yeah, look, I mean, spoiler alert, Devon Achane is in my top 5. And it's because of there is not a better home run threat in this draft. And I mean, regardless of position, there's not a better home run threat than Devon Achane. If he gets the ball in space and he stays clean, he's gone. It's a touchdown. If you go back and look at his college tape, that was the one thing they were really good at doing in Texas A&M, is scheming for him to be open. It was a lot of toss sweeps. It was a lot of laterals, a lot of sweeps out of the backfield. It was about getting him in space, because if he can get in space, if there's a 5-yard cushion between him and the defender, he's gone. It's a touchdown. I mean, if he can get into open space, he's a home run threat every single time. I don't know that, again, they're really good about scheming it up and good about blocking, and when he was on returns, and that's why he was such a success in the return game, because as soon as he had a lane, he was gone. And the Seahawks have been known to be pretty good on special teams. So yeah, I think that's kind of why I have him a little bit higher than you do, because if we can scheme for him, this guy is going to be just fantastic. I love Devon Achane.
So you have Roschon Johnson, who is a running back that I also am really high on. In fact, he's in my top 5. So why did you put Roschon Johnson here at number 6?
The only reason Roschon Johnson is not in my top 5 is because I haven't seen him carry the load. That's the only thing. There's no other questions about his game besides that. This guy is a big back, bruising back, fights for extra yards, good hands, great blocker. I mean, he is the consummate third down back. Plus, he's got the size and strength to be a first and second down bruiser. Of all the guys in this draft that I think could be a perfect complement to K9, Roschon Johnson is it. And I say that because he knows exactly what it's like to be the perfect complement to a star running back. For those of you that are watching this podcast, if you don't know, there's another running back out of Texas that you're going to see later in this list, and is undoubtedly going to be the first running back taken off the board. And Roschon Johnson was his backup. And if Roschon Johnson wasn't at Texas behind Bijan Robinson, he would have been a star in college. He has that kind of upside. He every time he's gotten a chance to play, he's looked great. Again, the only reason he's lower on my list than he is on yours is because I haven't seen him carry the load. That's it. The only knock I have on Bijan or Roschon.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just going to go ahead and advance this because my 5 is Roschon Johnson and your 5 is Devon Achane. So for Roschon Johnson, for me, he could have been a starter for any other college program except for the one he was at, because the one he was at had Bijan Robinson. I really like him. I hope the Seahawks get him because, like you said, he is that perfect complement. He has great patience at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't force it. He goes to the hole that opens for him. He has balance, great contact balance. He has good vision with the ball. He might not hit a home run. I mean, he ran in the 4.5s, I believe, as a 40, but that doesn't bother me.
That's 4.52, which is plenty of speed.
Yeah, that's plenty of speed, and that's not who you're bringing him in to be. I mean, he's over 220 pounds and he plays like he's over 220 pounds. He's going to go in there and hit you. When people tackle him, they fall forward for positive yards. So he would be, like you said, a perfect complement for Ken Walker. And I would jump for joy if the Seahawks were to bring in Roschon Johnson in this draft.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. Everything you said. He would be a great Seahawk. And then I don't really know if I have a lot to add on to Devon Achane for what I already said. I mean, the reason he jumped Roschon Johnson is, again, only because I think he brings that home run threat that Roschon Johnson doesn't to the table, and I think he'll have a position on the Seahawks if they draft him. He'll be able to contribute, especially on special teams, right away. That's it.
Yeah, and then number 4, I have Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA, and you have Tyjae Spears out of Tulane. So I liked what I saw out of Zach Charbonnet. He is a guy who is a one-cut runner. He is a north-south runner, and that's how I want him running, right? Basically the same speed as Roschon Johnson, 4.53 in the 40. It doesn't bother me. Just like it didn't bother me for Roschon Johnson, it doesn't bother me for Zach Charbonnet. He runs with power, uses his size well, and once again, he's not going to hit a home run, but he's going to have a good yards per carry average, which is moving the chains, walking the offense down the field, giving your defense time to rest. So I am okay with that style of back. I think it fits well with the running backs already on the Seahawks roster. I would love to see Zach Charbonnet wearing the Seahawk blue and green.
Yeah, there's another guy that I think could come in and be a really great compliment to K9. I have a few questions about his pass blocking and his role if he was going to be that third down back. He can catch it out of the backfield. There's no doubt about the guy's got soft hands. But yeah, I wonder what his role would be at the Seahawks. That's my only thing with him. I just wonder what his role would be if the Seahawks drafted him. Although it's funny because he's actually higher on my list than he is yours. But it's the reason I put him up a little bit higher than you did, and the reason I think you'll see him in the next slide, is just because I think he has the versatility, and I don't think he's reached his peak in college. I think this guy still has a little bit of room to grow. But yeah, he's another guy that I think could sneak into the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody took him in the early rounds. He's definitely going to go before the third round.
Yeah. And just to expound on kind of what you mentioned about his hands, he wasn't asked to be a receiver a lot at UCLA. So he showed decent receiving ability at the combine. And that's something that teams are going to test out when they bring him in kind of in camp and to see if he actually has that skill set. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and advance this one more because we did it again. My 3 is Tyjae Spears. Your 3 is Zach Charbonnet. So what do you like about Tyjae Spears out of Tulane?
What don't I like about Tyjae? I think Tyjae Spears is probably the best all-round back in this draft. And I'm not taking anything away from the top 2 guys because there's a reason why they're top 2. But this guy can literally do anything. I mean, he lined up at receiver in college. He lined up in the backfield. He can run between the tackles. He can sweep it outside. He's got great speed when he gets to the edge. He's a very smart player. Yeah, I mean, the only reason he's not higher on the list for me, or the reason I put Zach Charbonnet above him, is because I don't think he has another level to hit. That's it. I think everything we've seen him do in college is who he is. I think he can come in and be a contributor right away. I don't think he's going to competing for that number 1 spot, whereas I think Zach Charbonnet has a chance to do that down the line. But Tyjae Spears could come in, be our backup to K9, and yeah, he could easily slot into that number 2 spot, and that's why he's where he's at for me. That's it.
Yeah, I have at number 3 because for a lot of the same reasons. I think he's got a lot of Kenneth Walker skill set, but with better hands. I wish he was a little bit bigger. That being said, he plays bigger. He runs through contact despite his size, which I think is important to mention. He is electric to watch. When this man is on the field, you want him to get the ball because you want to see what he's going to do with it. He can take it to the house on any given play, wherever he lines up. And like you mentioned, he took snaps all over the field. So I don't think the Seahawks are going to get him. I think he's going to end up going in the draft in a position where the Seahawks are not looking to take a running back, but he would be electric to watch and a fun guy to watch on our team. All right, so we already talked about Zach Charbonnet. Going to our number 2 running backs, I have Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama, who's kind of the consensus number 2 if you look around the scouting sites. And you went with DeWayne McBride, who we talked about earlier.
Yeah, look, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead and taking away from your start. I know you want to talk about your guy, but just to reiterate, the reason that I'm so high on DeWayne McBride is because it's all nostalgia for me. He could come in and have plays just like Marshawn Lynch, where you could see him shrug off 5-6 tacklers and take it to the house, not because he's burning guys, but just because they can't bring him down. That's who DeWayne McBride is. He's easily the hardest runner in this draft. I think it would be super exciting to see him in a Seahawks uniform, just to have that big bruising back again with the Seahawks. I don't know that his ceiling's quite Marshawn Lynch. I actually might compare him a little bit more to like Alex Collins is a great comparison. Hard-nosed runner that can get you those tough yards, is never going to be knocked back. He's always going to fall forward, and I just loved watching him. That's why I'm so high on DeWayne McBride. I just love watching.
Nice. Yeah.
And also the reason I was just going to say, the reason I don't have Gibbs on my list is because I can't ever have a Alabama running back in my top 10. It'll never happen.
Well, looking back, there's not a real good track record for Alabama running backs, but I like the way DeWayne McBride is patient at the line. And that's one of the things you see the true running back skill set there. He waits for that hole to open. He hits the hole. He takes what he's given and he makes positive outcomes happen from that. I have Jahmyr Gibbs on my list. He's my number 2, kind of for his versatility. The NFL is going away from the traditional running back. And as much as I hate to see that, because I think offenses need to be balanced. If you look at the games where the Seahawks won and looked good doing it last season, those were games where we had a balanced offense, where we used our running back room appropriately, where we used our tight ends appropriately, where we were able to actually scheme up a running game and not just have runs at the end of the game when the game was basically out of reach one way or another. But Jahmyr Gibbs comes in and he can run the ball. He's electric. He had a 4.35 40, so he's another one of those home run guys. He has good balance, good vision, everything you want to see from a top of the draft style running back. But another thing he brings is he's a great receiver. And in fact, he's another one of these guys who might have a longer, more lucrative career if he just changes positions and becomes a slot receiver in the NFL. As a slot receiver, he could have a 10, 12-year career. As a running back, 4 or 5 years, and most of those guys are out of the league.
Yeah, look, I don't. There's nothing. It's not Gibbs. He has great game tape. There's very few knocks there's not a lot I can say that's a negative for him. He's a great back. And again, the only reason he's not in my top 10 is because I just can't. I can't put an Alabama running back up there again, because for all the stuff that those of you that go back and watch our QB one, the only knock on him is the system he comes from. Alabama, every player looks good in Alabama. Every single player, because they consistently have the best players. They always do. They get the best class to come in. Everybody does their job. It's such a fine-tuned machine, and I think that I just need to see him on a roster where he's not surrounded by A+ talent. I'm nothing against him. Again, he could come in and be the best back in this draft class, no doubt. I just want to see it. I want to see him outside Alabama.
That's fair. And you don't trust Alabama running backs the same way I don't trust Alabama quarterbacks. And
exactly.
I'm not going to go into that again, but for more on that, please go rewatch or watch our NFL draft top 10 quarterbacks ranking show. And I'll definitely go into it further. But I want to see what he brings to the table in the NFL. I think with the right team, he could be just a perfect fit with his receiving ability and his patience and his contact balance. So if we look at our number one
Please
player,
don't let the Rams. Just as long as he doesn't go to the Rams, I'm happy.
fair. Our number one player is not going to be a surprise to anybody. So our number one running back on my list and on Adam's list is Bijan Robinson out of Texas.
It's on everybody's list. There's not a top 10 running back draft report that doesn't have Bijan Robinson number one. If there is, don't listen to anything that person has to say because they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. So what I have for Bijan Robinson, I think he's the best running back prospect since Adrian Peterson. And that's including Saquon Barkley. Listen, Saquon Barkley was electric and he could do amazing things in the field. Bijan Robinson's better. Bijan Robinson is the best prospect since Adrian Peterson, and he plays like LaDainian Tomlinson. And I don't make NFL comparisons. I don't take that lightly. So when I say that, I am very high on this prospect. I think Bijan Robinson is probably the number one or number two true talent player in this draft. And there's a good chance he'll still be on the board at number 20.
Which is insane.
That's how the position's been devalued. Teams don't care about running backs anymore. And that's because teams are not utilizing them properly. So a lot of it's their bodies break down. They take a lot of hits. A lot of these really good guys played a lot in college. And so you almost need to rest them when they come into the NFL in order to get a longer career out of them. And I understand that's kind of why these guys are being devalued. But man, Bijan Robinson is great. He's the 2022 Doak Walker Award winner. He had 104 forced missed tackles last year. That's crazy. They played 12, 13 games, and he was almost forcing 10 tackles a game. That is insane to think about. He has amazing vision. He has great contact balance, as you see from the missed tackles. And this guy is elusive. He will make even the best tacklers miss out in open field. And he has the ability to take it downfield. He plays faster than his athletic testing times, and it shows up on film.
Yeah, I was shocked when I think he ran the high 4.5s at the cut. Was it 4? It was 4. Maybe it was 4.4s. But he didn't have the best 40 time, and not that was a big surprise. But it doesn't matter. This guy definitely plays faster than anybody with pads on. We already talked about the devaluation of the running back position. If you take the last 10 drafts that we've had, he would have been the number one running back taken in all 10 drafts.
Yep.
Easily. No contest. He would have gone before Zeke Elliott. He would have gone before Saquon Barkley. He would have gone before Derrick Henry. Anybody. He would have easily gone before anybody the Seahawks have drafted in the first 2 rounds. And that's nothing against Kenneth Walker or Rashad Penny, who I love you guys both. But he is a better player. He would have been the first running back taken on the board in the last 10 drafts, no doubt. And if this was a draft from, let's say, 20 years ago, he'd be the number one player taken. And no one would question it because he's that good. I love that you talked about LaDainian Tomlinson, LT. He doesn't look like he would be that elusive, but he's that elusive. And it's because he can cut, he can juke guys out of play, he can stiff arm. There just isn't a better prospect of running back in this draft or probably any draft that I can remember off the top of my head. You said if he could still be available at 20, and if he is, and I know Seahawks fans will freak out if we take another early running back, but you should all be applauding if the Seahawks can grab him at 20. Him and Kenneth Walker in the backfield will have 2,000-yard rushers next year. Easy.
Yeah. Insane. And I think what happened, you thinking that he ran in the high 4.5s because his hand time at the combine was in the 4.5s, but his official time came in at 4.46. So okay. A little bit more of what we were expecting. But yeah, he's got the toughness of Adrian Peterson, the elusiveness of LaDainian Tomlinson, and the hands of Edgerrin James. So he can get it done in all phases of the running back game, and teams are going to skip on this prospect because he's a running back. And if you're a team who values best player available, then you're missing out. You're missing the ball on this one.
Yeah, I like if the Seahawks took him at number 5, would I be absolutely shocked? Yeah, so would the rest of the world. Would I be upset? No. No, because he's that guy. He's a transcendent talent. I think look, we don't need him. He's not a position of value. It would be really weird for the Seahawks to go that far afield and do that. But there's no doubt in my mind that if the like let's say Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are off the board at number 5, he would be the top prospect on the Seahawks board. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I would be shocked because in today's NFL, running backs don't go that high.
Oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
As far as true talent, that's where he needs to go as far as true talent. But realistically, if he's there at 20, I think there might be a chance he should be. It should at least be a thought that's entertained in the Seahawks war room, is taking that talented of a player if he is there at 20.
Yeah, I don't know how if he's there at 20, I don't know how you pass on him.
Yeah, and that's not anything against Ken Walker. Like, no. Those two together would be the best running back tandem that the NFL has seen in decades.
Like I said, I think we could legit, if we draft Bijan Robinson, we will legit have 2,000-yard rushers in 2023. They will both get enough time. We will run the ball 50 times a game if we need to get those guys the touches they need. And I have no problem with that. And you know, I mean, I guess it kind of sucks to be DK or any of our receivers, but look, we're going to win games because no one's going to be able to stop our rushing game. Yeah, if he falls to 20, the only reason that the Seahawks should pass on him is if somebody gives up a just war chest to trade up for you, to trade up with you. Yeah, but otherwise, if he's there at 20, yeah, just write the name down and hand it in.
Well, there you have it. That's the Let's Talk Seahawks top 10 running backs prospects for the 2023 draft. Thank you for listening. As always, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.